Hello and welcome to this third tutorial in our PowerLink Connect series. This tutorial will cover screen development. The links to parts 1 and 2 in our tutorial series are provided below. So as an outline for this tutorial, our objective is to create a new working screen utilizing the database objects that we created in the first two tutorials. Our new screen will comprise three elements: the menu at the top, a one-line diagram in the center, and a data list or tabular report at the bottom. We will create each of these screen elements in turn and then merge them all together at the end. Okay, so here we are back in our PowerLink Connect sample system. What we're going to do now is create a new screen. So we're going to open Workbench, and we're going to open the My PowerLink project that we created in our previous tutorials. So I'm going to start the project. And we will go to the Screens directory in the left-hand window here. So what I'm going to do now is create a new blank screen using a template that we already have in our PowerLink Connect project, which is the iPowerDefaultPicture.sim. We could start a new screen from scratch, but for this tutorial it's useful to utilize the iPowerDefaultPicture because it's already pre-configured with everything that you might typically need for a PowerLink screen. For example, using this template, you can use this not just for substation diagrams but also to create a list report. Now at any point in this process you may find it useful to create one or more test screens, and you can see that I've been doing that with these My Test Subs and My Test Picture. And one of the things that's really useful here is if you adopt and understand the naming conventions that we use throughout the product. So for example, by using this term sub in a range of different pictures, we're going to demonstrate how that convention can be very useful later on in the demo when we configure the menu for our screen. So for this screen I'm going to draw a simple one-line diagram. So the first thing I'll do is edit the iPowerDefaultPicture.sim. Okay, so I'm going to save this as a new picture, and I'm going to call my new picture My Sub A, and save. So we'll begin by selecting the Drawing tab in the upper taskbar, and I'm going to place a line on the picture. So this is going to be a simple one-line diagram comprising of a breaker leading onto a transformer and then splitting to three additional feeders, each with its own breaker. So here I have a line which will represent a bus line. I'm just going to make sure that this line doesn't have any vertical height, because I want the line perfectly flat, as I'm going to copy and paste it and reuse this line for additional elements in this one-line diagram. So I've copied and pasted that line, and I'm also going to draw a vertical line, so I'll create a vertical one. And again, I'm just going to use the properties. Sorry, you've got to select the line. I'm going to use the properties to make sure that this line is perfectly vertical. So the first object that I'm going to insert is going to be a tap changer or a transformer. So we'll go to Class Object, click on Class Object, and then click on the screen where we want to place this object. Now the object that we're going to place here is the Power Sub T1 AI tap changer. So I double click on that. So you should check the display description. The rotation option is only required if I'm drawing a vertical diagram rather than the horizontal, so I can leave that. The megawatts and megavar points have already been found and selected based on the naming convention. So I should set the low windings color, which I'm going to make the red 11 kV value, and I'm going to make the high windings color the blue 66 kV value. We'll OK that, and we'll just position that approximately where we want it in the diagram. So that's the tap changer in place. I'm now going to place the high side breaker, and I'm going to use an object that includes 3 analog amps readings. So we'll go class object again, place that at the end of the bus line, and this will be the Power SMT CB1 MBSTS point. Click display. Again, you can see that the 3 A, B and C phase amps have already been selected based on the naming convention that we've applied for these devices. So I'm going to OK that and line that up at the end of the bus line. So for the last 3 feeders, I'm going to take a bit of a shortcut and simply copy and paste these elements together. So I'm going to take this line, copy and paste that. Shorten that line. Copy and paste that. Now we're going to put the CB2, 3 and 4 circuit breakers off the feeder here. So I'm going to insert another class object. This time it'll be CB2 MB status. Now we don't have phase amps configured for this particular device, so I'm going to change the type. I'm going to change the type of display object used. So I can click on the device and right click, and I get a range of options for different styles of device here. I'm going to use the MBCS square top version. So this is a more compact version of the same object for display purposes, ensures that there's a little less clutter on the screen. So I've lined these up. I'm going to select all, copy that and paste it 3 times for the next 2 devices. So this will be CB3. And this will be CB4. Now because I've copied and pasted these devices, I need to update which object that should actually be pointing at. So this should be CB3. We'll change that to the CB3 point, apply and OK that, and this device should be CB4. So again, we'll select the correct device for that object on the screen. Okay, so to finish off now, I'm going to line up all of the objects on the screen here. Just fine-tune their positioning a little bit. We'll look at the zoom and size the window to fit that. Zoom to fit. And I'm going to position everything a little bit more centrally. Good. And lastly, we're just going to sort out the bus line coloring. So for the high side bus, we'll select the high side bus and change the color to the navy 66 kV value, 603 66 kV value, and for all of the low side bus lines we'll select all of these and choose the color for the 11 kV value. Now we can save this and we can test out our screen and see how that looks. Right, you can see the high and low side windings on the transformer correspond with the bus lines. That's exactly what we're going to look for. So at this point we have pretty much finished off the creation of a simple one-line diagram that I wanted to create for this tutorial. As you can see, we can zoom in and out, and we can apply some fine-tuning adjustments to the diagram to line everything up if we wanted to. But I'm just quickly going to show you one simple bus line coloring animation example. So I'm going to select the feeder line off the CB2 breaker, and what we want to do is animate this line so it changes to black if this breaker is opened. So we right click and choose Properties. We go to the Color Animation tab and we want to create an expression. So I'm going to enter the expression POW for the point SMT CB2, the multi-bit status point value. So we're going to apply a does not equal close expression for this. So not equal close. We're going to animate the line and we're going to choose black for this animation. So we'll close that and apply and OK. So if we go through to the test screen, I can see that that device has not got the correct orientation, so we need to update this one. We need to rotate that bus. Okay, that. Let's try that test again. Right, so what we can do is we can use local force here to simulate opening and closing of this circuit breaker. And when it is in the closed position, the circuit breaker is live, the line is live, and when we force it into the open position, that line has gone cold. So that's a simple animation we can use to demonstrate changes in the bus line environment. Okay, so this completes the simple setup of this one-line diagram that we want to create for our screen development project. And as you can see, we've got a lot of empty space. As you can see, we still have a lot of empty space available in our picture. We've got our one-line diagram more or less in the right position, but now we're going to insert a data list into the lower half of the screen to make information about these points more accessible. So we make sure we're in edit mode for our screen, and we go back to the drawing tab and we select the iPower list control button. So this creates a new object which we need to position correctly on the screen. This is going to be a tabular list report, so we want to have a large amount of real estate for this particular object. So I've adjusted the dimensions to suit the space that we have available. So I'm going to right click on the catapult list control, and I'm going to select the catapult list control object properties by right clicking. So this gives us the options or properties for this list control. So with the list control tool, we can create any type of list that we want. So we choose mode for the list type, and in this case we're going to do a data summary report. Now a data summary list is a real-time display of all of the current values of all the points in the system. I'm going to change the primary and secondary support options to location, I think. So this will ensure that all the information is sorted by location. But you could change this to whatever default sorting parameters you wanted to utilize, and obviously there's a range of options here. So I'm also going to check that quick filter is visible. This option enables us to easily change between the types of lists or the modes while we are in runtime, so we can change the mode of the report dynamically in runtime. I'm also going to apply a filter for this list. This allows us to focus the list. In this example, I only want this data list summary to show me points that utilize the POW naming convention. In your project, you may want to use a filter option to only display the values for a particular type of device, or a particular type of device in a particular location that you want to focus on. So in the point name field, I'm going to enter the wildcard for POW devices. So this will mean that this list will only show me points that feature POW in the device name. So we apply those settings and OK that. Now just before we go through and view those changes or test those changes, I want to change the font type that I'm going to use in this report. So again, we right click on the list control, but this time instead of the catapult list control object, we'll use the actual display properties. And we'll go through to control properties at the bottom. We'll select font. I want to use Courier New as my font. I'm going to deselect the strikeout and underline options and OK that, and apply and OK that. So let's now test out how this is looking. Excellent. So we can see our one-line diagram is available, and our data summary list report is also available. We can see that the filter is in place, only showing us points that feature POW in the point name. And we can also see that the quick filter is active, so I can switch between list modes and display different information, such as the alarm summary or the events list, or any information like the notes or local force conditions. So we'll go back to the data summary, and that all appears to be working well. Okay, so for this last element, we're going to apply a menu for the project. So what we'll do is we'll save our new screen and close out of that, and we'll start by taking a look at the default PowerLink Connect menu, which is the PowerLink menu.sim. As you can see, this menu features a range of navigation options and buttons So what we're going to do is create our own version of this menu that's specific to our project. Now of course you can build your own menu from scratch again, but I'm going to use that PowerLink Connect menu.sim as a template. So if I right click on that menu and choose edit, I'm going to save this as a copy and call it my PowerLink menu. So we'll save as. Okay, so we have saved our new menu as my PowerLink menu.sim. Now if I right click on the Catapult menu control object and I choose Catapult menu control object properties, you'll see we get this properties dialog box, which features 4 tabs: General, Layout, Buttons, and Submenus. The General tab is where we set the general properties for the menu, like do we want to display icons or just text or both. We can also set the default screen which is opened by the menu and the position. The layout is where we order the position of the buttons and structure our menu. The buttons are where we select and edit the icons that we want to use for the menu items. And the submenus is where we edit and create and edit the grouped submenus that we want the submenus to do. So I'm actually going to work a little bit back to front here and start with the submenus tab. Now with the submenus, this is where we can configure a list of menu items that roll down from the button in the navigation menu. And please don't confuse the submenu name with the sub naming convention that we've been using with our screens, which is meant to stand for substation. This is where this is going to become really useful now that where we've used we created our new screen, which was titled My Sub A, and as I mentioned previously, I've also created some other practice screens using the sub naming convention. The point is, now when we're creating this menu, I can quickly create a menu that groups all of the sub-menu or the menus that feature the same naming convention, i.e. sub. So I'm going to create a new sub-menu now. We use the left-hand side sub-menus and select the Add button, and I'm going to call this My Screens. And now under this new submenu we're going to add some items. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a menu item for a screen, and this screen will use the network overview screen, and that's already pre-configured in the PowerLink Connect sample system. So I'll scroll down to network overview and select that. Now I'm going to add another item which will be a separator, and then I'll create another item, and this is what we're going to use for our wildcard here to group all the sub pictures, or all pictures that feature sub in the naming convention. So the action here is actually a screen group, and what we're going to look for is a wildcard that features all screens using the sub naming convention. So next we'll go to the buttons, and this is where we configure the button that we want to use for our new My Screens submenu item. On the left you can see the buttons and the icons that are already in use, and I want to create a new one. So this new one we will call all of my screens, and this will use the My Screens submenu item, and we need to select now the icons that we're going to use for this button. So that's the hot and cold icons. The hot icon is the icon that is displayed when you roll your mouse over the menu item, and the cold one is the standard normal icon. So for the hot icon, we'll just click on that. I'll go into the icons folder. So this button is going to represent screens that are all substation related screens. So I'm going to use one of the default icons that's available in the demo system. I'm going to use the high tension power line icon here, which is the hot version, and I'll use the corresponding cold version for the same icon there. Okay. Then we'll go into the layout, and on the left here you can see all of the available buttons, and on the right you can see all of the icons and buttons that are already in use. Now the items that are at the top will appear on a horizontal menu on the left, and the items at the bottom here will be on the right. So this is where we can arrange where the order of where our buttons appear. So I'm going to add my new All My button, but I want that to appear up here and amongst the other screen menu items that are available. So I'm going to move that up the order and place that just behind the separator for all of the screen menu items. And as I said on the General tab, we want to use both the text and the images here for this example. Everything else here I'm going to leave as the default, and I'm going to OK that. Save the changes I've made to my PowerLink menu.sim, and we'll test out the screen. Okay, so here we are in runtime in SimView with our new my PowerLink menu.sim screen running, and it has automatically opened the default PowerLink Connect picture that we had configured, and we can see that the new All My button is available, located next to the separator as we ordered it when we were structuring the menu. And when I click on this button, we can see that the roll down menu includes the network overview screen that we configured, and also the wildcard for all menu or all screens containing sub in the name. And this includes our new My Sub A screen that we've been editing. So we click on that, and we can see that our new picture with the one-line diagram that we've created is available, as well as our data list summary report configured in the lower half of the screen. And the quick mode change is available, so I can change from the data summary to any other type of report, such as the alarm summary or events list. We can see that the Courier new font is being used, and obviously we could change the size of that text to make it more legible for operators. Going back to the data summary report, we can also see that the filters are available for the power services, and we could change the location based on the naming conventions that we've used previously and the device types. We can also see that when we click on the CB2 device, that our animation is present. So we can, in the closed state, it is used as the normal bus line, but when it's not in the closed state, so if we open that using local force to force that state, we can see that the bus line animates to black as we defined in our expression. So this concludes our third PowerLink Connect tutorial on screen development. Please subscribe to our channel for more tutorials in the future, and thank you very much for watching.